Hello everyone and welcome back to Hitting the Field on Hitting the Field Network. We've got a great show for you today, as always. First, I'll have some of the most football smart guys I know on to talk the moves made right before the NFL trade deadline. We'll go over what changes we could be seeing in their defensive and offensive schemes for both the traders and the tradees. Then, unfortunately, this might be our last time talking MLB on Main Show for this semester, as the World Series has ended and Phillies walk home with their heads hanging low. We'll go over what happened in the last few games and give our thoughts on what really won it for the Astros. And finally, I'm going to rant on a topic that's had the NBA whirling, a man named Kyrie Irving. I'm your host, Hannah Jo Groves. Today is Monday, November 7th, 2022, and Hitting the Field starts right now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back, everyone. The NFL trade deadline was almost a week ago now, and our first Sunday seeing some of the changes in action has come and gone. But I wanted to really get in depth about some of these trades, the thought process behind them, and what practical changes we'll continue to see in some of these franchises. So I've got with me my main football guys, Grant Wheeler and Ty Patton, to talk with us. Before I get to you, because I have a very specific question to start off with you, how are you feeling today, Ty?
I am doing great. The Bucs beat the Rams. Let's go.
Barely.
A win's a win.
A win's a win.
A win's a win, you're right. You didn't win yesterday, and
No.
now your head coach is fired. Tell us about that.
So yesterday was pretty
Goodbye,
depressing.
Frank Reich.
Horrible game yesterday, but hey, Frank Reich is fired. Long overdue. Should have happened after Week 18 last season. Jim Irsay needs to blow the entire thing up in Indianapolis. It's gotten way too out of hand, so this is a step in the right direction.
Okay, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Frank Reich's terrible. I'm just so glad he's gone. I can't wait to see the Colts do something else without him. I'm really excited for it. Kudos to you, Grant. I'm really excited for you, bud.
May take a couple years, but we'll see.
Well, that's not the only thing the Colts lost. They also traded away Nyheim Hines.
Nyheim Hines is correct.
So, and let me see if I got this right here. They traded from Indy to Buffalo for Zack Moss and a conditional 2023 6th-round pick.
Correct.
Indeed.
So let's get into this here. What opens up for Buffalo? We didn't see him do anything this past week, so we didn't get a preview. What are your thoughts regarding this, first off?
Well, first of all, it's a big loss for the Colts because he's a big part of the receiving core there. He's a receiving back. He can play running back, but he's mostly lined up in the slot or on the outside. It's going to definitely help Buffalo a lot, and Josh Allen a lot more weapons for that Buffalo offense, even though you already have so many weapons in Buffalo. But yesterday he played, only had 1 target, so they didn't really utilize him, maybe because they're not really familiar with him yet. But I think as the weeks go on, I think he should be well into their system.
Get more compatible. Yeah. Okay, what are you thinking about that?
Well, so the Bills want to be the Super Bowl caliber team that they've been digging for. And all these rumors came about them trading for Alvin Kamara, for Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, all these guys, trying to get another back behind Devin Singletary. And Nyheim Hines may not be Alvin Kamara, but that is that second power back that they wanted to get. And he can catch the ball out of the backfield, which is something that Devin Singletary has struggled with.
He's
down
very
the line.
fast and athletic, Nyheim Hines.
Exactly.
Well, do you think with a better team behind him, more of an established team, he could become more of a power running back because he has more support?
Well, he could, but I do think that, honestly, if you're putting him back there, I still think the majority of the carries go to Devin Singletary. I still think they do. But I just think Nyheim Hines is just there for a little bit of extra help if needed.
He's going to be happier, too. He's in a way better situation, a much better offensive line, better head coach. He's going to have more opportunities and more holes to go through on offense to get more yardage. Because this year, he only has 224 total yards, only 1 TD, only 36 total attempts. He hasn't done much this year because of the team he was on.
Right.
And he was unhappy. He requested a trade. So, if I were him, I would do it. I would do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't really imagine a better team to go to at this point than the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty ideal. So let's talk about the other side of this trade then. What are the Colts losing here? And what changes could we see from them?
Well, so the Colts are losing Nyheim Hines, their number 2 guy right behind Jonathan Taylor, but they pick up Zack Moss, who's another receiving back. He's another young guy, so he has a lot of potential, and they get a conditional 5th or 6th round pick. So if Nyheim Hines doesn't put up the numbers that the Bills want him to, that could turn into a 5th-round pick. I don't want to say the Colts came away with a win for sure, because I don't know how Zack Moss is going to play there, and we know that Jonathan Taylor's still dealing with an injury. But I think it's safe to say there's a pretty fair trade on both sides.
Personally, I think the Bills did win the trade. I think it's adding Nyheim Hines. He's too talented of an athletic player to not think about, because again, the Bills, their offense is going to be even more deadly now. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
The Colts, they have no hope on offense right now. They don't.
It's sad, but true. Yeah. Well, so another team that doesn't have much hope on offense is the Broncos, unfortunately for me. They traded away offensive linebacker Bradley Chubb.
Indeed.
So, and he went to the Dolphins for a 2023 first round, 2024 fourth round. And then he went along with Bradley Chubb and a 2025 5th round. I think I have all those details correct.
I believe so. I want to say the 4th-round pick was a 2023, and Chase Edmonds was involved in that deal as well. Running back Chase Edmonds.
Okay, so what is Bronco Country going to be doing for this, covering up this loss? What's that going to look like?
They're going to cry because Bradley Chubb is one of their last big-name players. Besides Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, all these guys on offense. On defense, who do you really have left besides Randy Gregory? You still have some nice, how would you say it, players in the secondary. I'm trying to find the words for it, but it's so weird to think that the one guy in your front 7 that you gotta love, Bradley Chubb, who's still a young guy, you just shipped off.
Right.
And he was the 5th overall pick in his draft.
Right.
You're not going to get another 5th overall pick back for him.
Yeah, and I can't help but think the protection that he helped out with is going to be, we're going to be feeling that.
I'm going to go on a limb here. I think Darren Orlovsky actually mentioned this on NFL Live last week. The Dolphins are Super Bowl contenders now with Bradley Chubb on defense. Yeah. Because their offense is already super prolific.
Right.
I know their defense had a hard time stopping that mediocre Chicago Bears offense yesterday. Sorry, Dominic, but this is true. But no, if Bradley Chubb, once he gets situated, this could be a very dangerous team.
I think you're right.
And then you pair him with Melvin Ingram and Jalen Phillips. I think the pass rush in Miami now is wild. But also Miami adds Jeff Wilson off the San Francisco 49ers, so you get an immediate replacement for Chase Edmonds.
Exactly.
So, I mean, the Dolphins did everything right. So
we're saying that the Dolphins are the winners of this trade?
Well, yeah, and, they really did not lose
much.
That first-round pick they traded away, they got from San Francisco in the Trey Lance trade.
That's right.
So, I mean, they're back to exactly what they started with, 1 first-round pick this year.
I'm just so sad about the Broncos. I feel like we're just not making great decisions.
Broncos country.
It could be worse. It could be a Colts.
Let's cry.
Yeah, you and I are just not doing well. But you're not doing that well either.
Well, the Bucs, they won yesterday.
We finally won a game.
They did.
Tom Brady. I had that talk with him.
Did you talk to him?
I did. I called him on the phone.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the new man on the Minnesota Vikings.
TJ Hockenson.
Okay.
TJ Hockenson. I hope everyone got that at home. So, TJ Hockenson was the guy that we actually got to see the most from yesterday. Kind of see the differences that the Vikings could, utilize him for. Because here's this stat. Ready? A tight end has not had 9 receptions for the Vikings since 2018.
4 years.
And that happened yesterday with TJ. And you were talking about how we kind of need to integrate Nyheim into the scheme and get him going. They put him right in there, and that was his first game.
Some players are different. Some players can adapt to a system right away. Some players, it just takes time. Also depends on the coaching staff. I guess Sean McDermott and the Bills are just not fully committed on Hines yet. But Minnesota, they are. They're fully committed on Hockenson, yeah.
What do you think about that? What's the level, what's the hesitation there with the commitment?
With Hines?
With Hines.
Well,
Sorry to change back.
It's Devin Singletary. You still have a number 1 running back in Buffalo, and I mean, they're a pass-heavy offense. So you can't really throw Nyheim Hines into this completely stacked offense and expect him to produce. I think it takes a little bit of time, but honestly, I think that works perfect. I think you give Nyheim Hines a few weeks to just check out the offense, see what he's doing, get a feel for the O-line and everything about it. I think it's almost perfect for him, this scenario that he's getting in.
Okay, so back to the Vikings. They had injured tight end Irv
Smith Jr.
Smith Jr.
Yes.
What is going to happen if they start relying on TJ? and then say TJ gets
hurt.
injured? What are we going to go back to the schemes that we've been seeing before?
Well, they'll probably go to Dalvin Cook more, go to Justin Jefferson more. They'll probably throw the ball a lot deeper if
And then
Hockenson gets hurt.
Can't forget you have Alexander Madison at backup running back, Adam Thielen and KJ Osborne there. So
Okay.
very, very
Weapons.
stacked.
Well, let's go to the other side of this trade, the Lions. So let me get the details. So second round pick for 2023, fourth round pick for 2024. That's what they got.
Third round pick 2024.
Third round pick for. See, this is why I have these guys on here. So the Lions. So I have TJ on my fantasy team. I'm used to him getting a lot of points for the Lions.
Yep.
This absence is going to be felt, I think, pretty severely.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me about that.
So the absence there, I honestly, I like to pride myself on saying I know all the players on the team. I can't even name the backup tight end on the Lions right now. I don't even know who it is.
It's because they're irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Riley.
But yeah, no, I think it's felt deeply. You have depth at receiver in Detroit, but without Jamison Williams yet, Amon-Ra St. Brown is their go-to guy, and right behind him at number 2 is TJ Hockenson.
This is actually one of the most prolific offenses in the league. The reason why they're 2-6 is because their defense is so bad.
Oh yeah. So then you remove one of the things that makes their offense so prolific, and now you just have a terrible defense.
This makes Dan Campbell's job a lot harder than it needs to be.
Right. It felt like they kept getting unlucky in the beginning of the season, and now I think they're just showing their true colors. Okay, so let's talk about I want to go over the stats, for TJ yesterday. 9 receptions, 9 targets, 70 yards, 19-yard long reception, and 5 first downs. So is he going to become the guy?
I mean, the way he's off to a great start so far. If he keeps playing like that and keeps improving, yeah, he should be.
Okay.
I think he becomes a situational player.
Well, Justin
Okay.
Jefferson's still their main guy.
Right.
But
Exactly.
in terms of like tight ends outside of JJ, then yeah, he could be.
I feel like the Vikings have been quietly doing really well.
They have.
And not
yeah.
kind of underrated. And
Let's
they
not
kind of
jinx
make
it for
their...
Cameron Forcier though.
What? What'd you say?
Let's not jinx it for Cameron
Oh, let's not
Forcier.
jinx it for Cameron.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. I thought you said it's all because of Cameron Forcier. I was like,
No,
I don't think
no.
he has anything to do with that. Okay, yes, but I think this move is just going to continue to move them up the ranks.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on the trade deadline?
Well, it was the most insane trade deadline ever, in my opinion.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
So
it was
many moving parts.
very, very crazy.
So many key players. Again, Bradley Chubb from the Broncos to the Dolphins. That I did not see coming.
Jeff Wilson to the Dolphins, and then Calvin Ridley to the Jaguars was very, very
That's
wild
interesting.
too.
That's
For a
interesting.
5th and a 6th. Like, who would have thought that, right?
Well,
I don't
yeah.
think anyone would.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have to talk NFL for today. You'll definitely be hearing more about it from myself and these guys in the coming weeks. Ty, Grant, thank you so much for coming on. When we come back, we'll have all our favorite baseball people on to talk World Series. Stay with us.
Cowboys versus Giants. Why? Because I am a New York Giants fan and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
All right, Jeff, don't tell me your winner, but who is going to the Super Bowl?
The New England Patriots
Oh my gosh. Oh my
God.
gosh.
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God.
The
Oh
NFL
my
is gonna
God.
the NFL is gonna make it happen.
And we're back with not 2, not 3, but 4 amazing guests to talk about the World Series. Now, it's no secret that I was rooting for the Phillies for a lot of reasons, including my boyfriend being a Phillies fan. the Astros being cheaters, formerly, and so on and so forth. But everyone is sad, along with me today, I think, anyway, because the Astros did pull out the win. So, guys, that's my how are you question today. Give me a short reaction to the winner of the World Series. Ezra, since you're talking baseball for the first time on Main Show, start with you. What's your little reaction?
I'm an avid Astros hater, so I hated to see them win, but I can't say that they didn't deserve it, sadly. So maybe next time, Philly.
Alrighty, Mason.
It is what it is. I wanted the Phillies just because NL East, but I'm happy for Dusty Baker. He deserves it a lot, so I'm not mad about it.
We will get into that. Miss Kayla, your reaction.
I'm so happy the Astros won. I love rooting against people. Everybody wanted the Phillies, and I'm just glad to see them sad. The Phillies.
I'm offended.
Not you sad, the Phillies sad.
Well, how do you feel?
I mean, my prediction was right. I did say Astros in 6, so I avoided being on our bad takes commercial. Yeah, and I'm just happy for Dusty Baker. He's probably still recovering from the bender he went on after they won.
I think he's still on the bender.
He might still, yeah, he could be.
Okay, well, so my first question for you guys, and I know this is kind of like a biased from a Phillies want to win perspective, but what stopped Bryce Harper from getting the big hit that everyone was looking for?
Well, the Astros pitching really stepped up. I mean, nothing changes momentum quite like a no-hitter. I mean, Christian Javier went out and did what he's done all season, and then, getting the no-hitter. The Phillies averaged 3 hits a game for the 3 games they lost. So, I mean, it's just the Astros pitching went to another level, and that's what got them their World Series.
Mason, what were you thinking Bryce Harper would do? What were your predictions initially?
I was hoping for that big hit. Yeah. I think he did have that in Game 3. He did hit a home run early in the game, but that was about it. He was pretty much kept quiet throughout the entire series, and that is what helped the Astros win. So it was unfortunate for the Phillies and unfortunate for Bryce Harper.
Yeah. Yeah, what about you, Kayla? What was the expectation versus reality?
Well, like I said, like Nate said, the Astros pitching was insane. Like, here's a fun fact. The lowest reliever ERA of 0.83, that's the second below the 1990 Reds. That's crazy. I think their pitching, their relievers, their starters just all came together to just show out and just shut the Phillies down. Like a no-hitter in the World Series, a combined no-hitter, that's crazy. And that was after the previous game, the Phillies won 7-0, then they got shut out the next night. That's just crazy to me.
That just crushes your morale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ezra, thoughts on that?
Yeah, just backpacking off everybody else pretty much. The Astros pitching was unbelievable. Like Nate said, Christian Javier, literally his high and fastball was torching the Phillies all night. It was just almost impossible to overcome, and of course the Astros bullpen, honestly, probably the most underrated bullpen in the league. With how, especially because they showed that this postseason, and I think that's what really helped them to win.
Okay, so before we kind of get into maybe some of the things that Schwarber did, the other things that he did, what was the logic behind the bunt with 2 strikes?
There was
the attempted bunt.
There's
that went
literally
foul.
no logic behind it.
Okay.
I mean, you're down by 3 runs. You need to get hits to get some momentum, and and just as a whole, their offense just kind of plummeted. Like JT Realmuto, Rhys Hoskins, and Nick Castellanos in the final 3 games of the series, they combined to go 1 for 36 with 22 strikeouts. You're not going to win when 3 of your best hitters combine to get 1 hit. And the 1 hit was Realmuto's single in the 9th inning.
And yeah, that's all you got. So. Mason, what was the thought behind that? Do you have any, maybe he saw something that we didn't see?
No, absolutely not. There's zero. No, for sure. It was Schwarber. Schwarber was the one that was Is that right?
I think so.
Why is he bunting? There's absolutely no reason for him. For him, he has 3 true outcomes. He either strikes out, he either walks, or hits a ball to the moon. That's it. He's not meant to bunt.
And didn't he hit a home run in his previous at-bat, too?
Exactly.
And then, all right, 2 strikes. I'm the only reason we have a run in this game. Let me bunt with 2 strikes.
That's absurd to me.
That's crazy. Known for moonshots.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about some of the good things he did then. Kayla, what did we see from Schwarber?
I mean, he hit when he doesn't bunt, but I mean, I think everybody on the Phillies, even him, were pretty shut down in the World Series, after Game 3? Game 4, they didn't win. Yeah. It wasn't coming together. I think they had their big hits back in the NLDS, the NLCS, and so I think they just not retired, but couldn't get it together if you weren't hitting those home runs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very hit or miss, and hitting's
Yeah.
infectious. When one guy gets into a slump,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it kind of trickles down, and that's what we saw.
Right. I think I saw this time around how mental it can be.
It's very mental.
You can get lucky and get a few hits, and that really can just ramp
And
you up.
sometimes you can only stay hot for so long. You
Right.
saw what they did at NLDS, NLCS. You know, eventually it has to come to an end. And the Astros pitching staff, Justin Verlander finally showed up in the World Series in Game 5.
Right.
And, you know, it's just the Astros pitching staff was on another level.
All right, changing over to Astros offense, let's talk about Jeremy Pena. Ezra, what did you see from him?
As a rookie, he's unbelievable. It was like, I would never expect him to be doing as good as he did in this postseason. Like, if you asked me, I would have said, oh, Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, never Jeremy Pena. He was like, it felt like every other at-bat he did something incredible for the team. And he just kept it going the entire postseason, and he really, really, really deserved that MVP.
Mason, what do you see for his future?
I think he can be the future shortstop for the Astros. I mean, who's Carlos Correa? I don't know who that guy is. I mean, completely forgot about him. He took over that position, and everyone in Houston loves him now. So he's definitely got a bright future ahead of him.
Okay, so one more player before we move to a certain manager. Tell me about Presley.
Oh, I mean, when you talk about their bullpen, which was, I mean, the best in the postseason, it comes down to him. He was shutting it down in the 9th inning. I mean, when he came into the game, it was almost automatic. And that's just, he anchored what was a dominant performance by the bullpen.
Yeah. Mason, thoughts on Presley?
Oh my goodness, he had a 0 ERA. That means he did not give up an earned run. I think he gave up, there was 1 run, but it was unearned, probably because of errors or something. But the opponent batting average was 100. 100. That is 10% of the time, basically, that a player is getting a hit off of him, which is astronomically low. That is perfection, as perfect as you can be, honestly. Presley was just nails. He was locked down the entire World Series and the entire postseason.
Ezra, I see you nodding enthusiastically over there. You got something to add?
Yeah, I mean, you can't hit his slider, and then when you think you read his slider, he throws his fastball, and you can't touch it. So literally him pitching 5.2 innings, and getting 5 strikeouts, not letting anybody score a run on him other than the unearned run, of course. He's so underrated, criminally underrated as a closer, and I'm happy he finally is starting to get his flowers a little bit.
Well, Kayla, okay, so I'm starting to feel like, okay, yes, it's deserved, better team, whatever. Can you give me the positive side of this?
So yeah, there's a player on the Astros, Trey Mancini, was acquired from the Orioles at the trade deadline this year. In 2020, he was diagnosed with colon cancer. Never thought he'd play baseball again. Came back in 2021 with the Orioles. Like I said, was traded to the Astros this season. And in 31 months from his surgery, he has a World Series ring. That's amazing. And it's very heartwarming, like a story that came out of the World Series this year.
That is kind of heartwarming, I must admit. And then another kind of heartwarming story is to see Dusty Baker also get a ring. Can you give us some on that, Kayla?
So yeah, he's the oldest manager to get a ring. He won one back as a player in 1981 with the Dodgers. Now he's a manager, finally got a ring for that, 41 years later?
Oh, man.
So that's crazy.
Yeah.
He started his career with the Braves as a player, went to the Dodgers, the Giants. He's managed a lot. He's managed the Giants, the Cubs, the Reds, the Nationals, Astros. It's just crazy what he's doing, and I'm very happy to see him get a ring. It's very well deserved.
Mason, thoughts on Dusty Baker?
I am so happy for him. He deserves it. I'm pretty sure he's retiring after this year. I did see a clip of him. I don't remember where exactly I saw it, but as the final out was being made, everyone else is kind of celebrating around him, and he's just finishing on his little scorecard, the fly out in foul territory, and then he puts his pen down, and then he celebrates with everybody. It just shows he's still so old school that he is using that book on his own. Even though he's the manager, he's still writing everything down, and I love that. I'm so happy for him.
That is cool to see. Johnny wanted me to tell you, everyone, this man apparently invented the high five.
He did. Yes.
Tell us, Mason, tell us.
I don't know. It was a long time ago. I think after a home run he hit, I don't know if he was on deck or if he hit the home run, and I don't remember the other guy, but I just remember hearing this a couple years ago. He just threw his hand up, and the other guy threw his hand up, and boom, they called it a high five, and yeah.
That is ridiculous. Yeah. So yeah, I thought this was like from the caveman times that we invented high five. So wow, it was Dusty Baker all along. So guys, my final question for you, in hindsight, is there / what could have the Phillies done? Is there anything the Phillies could have done to do better, to have a better chance, to maybe take this game a little longer?
Well, I think they need to, moving forward, they need to add a little more contact to their offense. They're very hit or miss. You know, it's either home runs or they're striking out. So I think in free agency, and Dave Dombrowski, he's not afraid to spend money. I wouldn't be surprised if they add like a Trey Turner to the offense. He's got he plays great. Good defense at shortstop. He puts the ball. I see Mason's not happy. But he can be in the leadoff spot. He can like be a guy that sets the table for all their big bats. I mean, they weren't expected to be here, so it's they can take a solace in that. But I mean, it still stings. Don't get me wrong. You get there, you want to win. It's not. You don't just say, "Oh, we'll be back next year." It's never guaranteed. That's like one of the worst sayings in baseball.
True. But Mason, give us your thoughts.
I pray to God that they don't sign Trey Turner. I want my Marlins to make a big splash and have something like that. I just don't want to see another NL East team get a big player like that. But for the Phillies, I think their offense is very good. What I think let them down in the postseason was their two big guys in Nola and Wheeler. They relied on them heavily throughout the entire postseason, and in the World Series, they both kind of let them down. So I think for them, they need to get maybe another starter, just better starting pitching overall, I would say.
Ezra, how do you feel about that?
I do agree with the starting pitching, but I also think their bullpen really let them down.
I think you're right.
Their bullpen was awful.
Matching up against the Astros especially.
Especially, yeah. When you verse such a contact-based team and they just start destroying baseballs off you, it doesn't really help to get better later in the game, especially when you're trying to keep a lead or trying to keep like a steady flow going so your offense can start something for you. But yeah, I have nothing for them right now because it doesn't seem like they're going to get any better.
Kayla, final thoughts?
Yeah, their pitching just let them down, and I think with winning 87 games this year, making it to the World Series, they have a bright future ahead of them, I think.
I would hope so. But that's all the time we have to talk baseball, and unfortunately, with the semester coming to a close, this might have been the last time that we are talking baseball on Main Show for a little bit. But we also could be talking about free agency. You never know. Next couple of weeks if something crazy happens.
Aaron Judge re-signing with the Yankees.
Good one. Very funny.
Anyway, thank you so much, all of you, Kayla, Nate, Ezra, and Mason, for sharing your baseball knowledge, not just today, but all semester. I've had a great time with each of you guys. When we come back, I'll give you my thoughts on the situation involving Brooklyn Nets point guard Kyrie Irving. We'll be right back.
Welcome to HTF Hot Takes. I'm Johnny Jackson. We've got Emily Aaron to my right and Maluka Costa to my left.
Hello and welcome to our segment of Hot Ones. I'm here with Noah Kemper and Grant
Wheeler.
Yep, I knew that. Grant Wheeler.
Listen, I'm a Bulls fan, but I just can't ever argue against LeBron. I watched him my whole life.
I've been going back and forth with this debate for a long time. It's got to be Michael Jordan.
Whatever she wanted. I would wake up in a maid costume for Doja Cat.
Brutal.
Jeffrey Laux, no question.
Richie, I would give it to Richie.
It is not Richie. It is not Richie.
No, it's Jeff.
Richie's pronouns are he, they, because he cannot be him.
What?
Oh, wait a second.
I'm gonna have to also agree and say Jeff. He always is spiffy.
It might be Cameron. Cameron's had some good fits.
Out of the women, Norelli always dresses really, really cute.
Oh, that went so awful.
It's basketball.
College football, I think, is the best sport to watch. If you don't like soccer, it's because you suck at it.
I think college football is the best.
Thanks for watching.
Welcome back. Now comes the rant part of our show, and this week the idea was handed to me on a silver platter. If you don't know the situation going on with Kyrie Irving, I'll give you a brief synopsis. A little over a week ago, Kyrie tweeted a link to a movie, the title of which I don't feel comfortable saying, but if you want to look it up, feel free. Basically, the movie is pretty anti-Semitic in nature, in that it suggests that Jewish people lied about their backgrounds and family history, and get this, that the Holocaust never happened. Yeah. So when Kyrie is asked about this, he very weirdly avoids giving a direct, "No, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm so sorry if anyone ever thought I was." And different reporters, media outlets, and other interviewers gave him a lot of chances to say that, even asking, "Do you have anti-Semitic beliefs? Answer yes or no." He wouldn't give a direct answer. Not until after the Brooklyn Nets suspended him for 5 games did he give somewhat of an apology on his Instagram. He said, "To all Jewish families and communities that are hurt and affected from my post, I am deeply sorry to have caused you pain, and I apologize." The Nets organization said the 5-game suspension without pay is minimum, alluding that there might be additional time added on. So that's the story. Now for what I think about it. The point-blank assessment on my end is he should have never tweeted that. But say temporarily for 1 second he was having some kind of thing happen to him where he wasn't himself and had no control, and he did tweet it, which he did. The next step is to be so apologetic that it gets annoying. It's to come out and say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I even did that. I thought it was a good idea at the time because of this, this, and this, but now I see how incredibly wrong I was and I can't apologize enough. I'm not anti-Semitic and I'm so sorry if I hurt anyone." And I don't think that response is rocket science to anyone. I'm pretty sure like everyone agrees that that's the right step. But Kyrie didn't do that. Instead, he was vague about what he agreed with and what he disagreed with in the film. When he was asked about his Twitter post hurting people, he took a complete left turn and talked about how he feels that his Native American and Black ancestors are unfortunately buried in America and how that's traumatized him. I feel like that's valid, but that point should also help him to understand how much he's hurt Jewish people. I just can't believe how negatively he's responded to the situation, and saying sorry after you got in trouble just doesn't really mean anything at all. The Nets say after 5 games and, quote, remedial measures will see him back. But after the way he conducted himself, I personally hope the NBA makes an example of him and does not easily just let him get back in the game without consequences. That's our show for today. We'll be right back in a week with more Hitting the Field. Thanks for watching, and on behalf of myself and all of us here at HTFN, have a great week. Peace.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to get